Hello and good morning, guys. In a amazing session today, and you can see the exuberance and the vigor on my face and the excitement on my face. Why not? Why shouldn't I be excited? Why shouldn't I be elated to the best of my abilities? Yes, guys, it is an amazing moment for all of us. Not only for me, not only for CMA Institute, but for the entire CMA fraternity. So please join in as soon as possible because the wondrous journey, the roller coaster ride is about to start. And yes, I can see a lot of messages flooding in. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Divya. Good morning, Nikita. Good morning, Akhilesh, Chandan, Manav Khera, Jyotish, Vivek, Ashish, Vanshi. And yes, I have marked a comment of Abhishek things on the screen. As you can see, this comment needs no introduction. It is absolutely apt in today's scenario, guys. CM में नाम सुन के flower समझे क्या? Fire है बिडू fire. Yes, today we are going to deal with this fire with an event which has happened for the first time in the history, and this event is absolutely stunning, guys. Absolutely stunning. Let me tell you, year 2010, I qualified CA, and the first salary which I got was 6 lakh rupees. The first salary which I got after qualifying CA 2010, 6 lakh rupees. And it took me almost 7 years, yes, close to 7 years to get to a bracket of 25 to 27 lakh rupees. But the times have changed. Now, the opening packages are as humongous as 27.5 lakh rupees. And guys, my team made a mistake in making that banner which you are seeing since yesterday. The figure is not 27 lakhs, it is 27.5 lakhs per annum. I mean, the first salary of a professional escalating to such a level, just imagine the level at which our profession is growing to. And trust me, I'm not saying that each and everyone can get this salary. This is the upper benchmark. But yes, if the upper benchmark rises, then the average salary bracket also rises over a period of time. This is historical. This is a proven fact. So if the upper benchmark increases per year, then the average also increases and the below the minimum benchmark also increases. Yes, you can say, sir, फालतू में खुश हो रहे हो? सिर्फ 2 बच्चों को अगर इतना पैकेज मिल गया तो बहुत बड़ी बात है क्या? अरे बहुत बड़ी बात डेफिनेटली है, बहुत बड़ी बात डेफिनेटली है, क्योंकि अपर ब्रैकेट जैसे ही इंक्रीज होगा, एवरेज ब्रैकेट और लोअर ब्रैकेट ऑटोमेटिकली इंक्रीज होगा. So yes, today we are celebrating. Today it's almost like Diwali at my institute. In at least in my heart, today it's like a Diwali. It's even more than auspicious Diwali for me, because today my profession, CMA profession, for which I am dedicated to, has touched another level. And yes, as promised, I didn't tell you who's that person who got this salary. But yes, you've seen the social media posts, you've seen her photographs also. But guys, you have to meet her live. Yes, her interview is already there on my YouTube channel. Her interview is there. She's already there on my YouTube channel. Her interview on how to score good marks is already there. So you should go over there. I will provide the link in the description box. She will share her strategy of getting an AIR 3. Yes, she is All India rank holder 3. She has secured All India rank 3. And now she has attained the highest package in the industry, in the campus, which is 27.5 lakh, with thunderous applaud, with amazing clappings. We welcome Rohini J. Many congratulations, Rohini. This is a
Thank you
victory
so much.
for our CMA Institute is elated. The entire CMA fraternity, the CMA community, the entire profession is proud on our Rohini that yes, not only has she banked AIR 3, a single digit rank in itself is a big advantage, is a big a difficult task to do, a Herculean task to do. On the top of it, to cherry it all, you've scored the highest package in the campus placement. And Rohini, let me tell you, don't be humble, okay, over here, because many people might be saying, ओ इसकी तो रैंक आ गई ना टॉप 3, तो पैकेज लगना ही था। ऐसा बिल्कुल भी नहीं होता। अगर ऐसा होता तो फर्स्ट से 10 रैंक वाले सारे के सारे स्टूडेंट्स को हाईएस्ट पैकेज लगते। ऐसा नहीं होता कि अगर आपकी रैंक अच्छी आ गई तो आपको डेफिनेटली पैकेज मिलेगा ही मिलेगा। इट्स नॉट ट्रू एट ऑल गाइज। So don't think that rank means a good package. You need something additional apart from rank to get good package. And
Definitely.
today we are here to discuss. Today we are going to extract some fruitful experiences which Rohini had. And guys, to remind you once again, Rohini has also appeared in an interview with me on my YouTube channel on preparation strategy for the examination. I'm not going to ask any preparation strategy, and you also don't ask any questions relating to examination preparation subjects, because she has already answered all the questions in the last interview. The link is given in the I button. I'll put the link in the I button, or I'll put the link in the description box. Go over there, watch that video for examination preparation strategy. This interview is only and only focused and scheduled to know her strategy towards campus placement. So,
Yeah.
Rohini, first of all, how does it feel? I mean, a salary up to 10 lakh rupees. I mean, a six salary figure in itself is so elating. It's in itself so happy making. Now, moving that 6 to 7, it's a different feeling altogether. How would you like to describe this feeling?
Sir, actually, it feels quite surreal right now because I really don't, I can't even comprehend the fact that I have gotten such a high package. But, I always had this belief that I had to do something different. I had to make my place here and I had to mark my place. And I was very much determined to get this kind of a package. So this did not start after my rank. Actually, I started thinking about it even before I got my rank, or when I was preparing for my exams as well. While I was preparing my exams, I always used to think, when I get this rank, I'll be able to get this kind of salary. Because I think in the last video also I mentioned, the more you think about the thing, that will appear in your life, no matter what, no matter how long it takes, it will appear in your life. So yes, I think that thought process kind of helped me to be here today, and I'm really grateful. I'm really happy, and to be able to popularize CMA course in such a way, that in itself is a very big deal for me. So I'm really grateful and really happy right
So, how did your father and mother reacted when you first of all told them that yes, I've got a package of so and so amount?
Okay, so actually, the shortlisting came in quite early. So I was actually eyeing for this company only, Power Finance Corporation, and I was like, I have to get into this, even though I got a lot of other shortlistings as well. All of my eyes, I had a hawkish eye on this PFC, and I was like, I need to get into it, no matter what. So everybody was quite tensed. Even my parents, they were all very tensed. So, the day I went for the interview, and then after I called my father first, and he was actually quite nearby only. He works in the Indian Meteorological Department only, so it's quite nearby to CMA Bhavan. So I called him, and he was so elated. He was so happy. He was actually, I could hear his voice break on the phone because I think he got quite emotional. So, and as soon as he heard this, he just came running to the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, and the chairman of NIRC and the vice chairman of NIRC. Everyone
Wow.
welcomed him. Yes, actually, they
Wow.
welcomed him, and they were like, please come in because your daughter has grabbed the highest package in the history of campus placements of CMA. And they were all giving him wonderful treatment, and he was provided with lunch there. Everything was so great. It was
Wow.
so, yes, yes, actually, that happened. And I'm
Uh,
so happy that it did because I've worked really hard to be here, and
yes.
to be able to give my father this opportunity and this privilege to be at my institute, and the chairman of NIRC greeting him with so much love and affection. That in itself was a very, very, very proud feeling for me, and I don't think I can describe it in words right now because that feeling was quite different. And I want each and every one watching this video right now to be able to experience this, because it just happens once in a lifetime, and I really want
Yes.
all the CMA students to experience this at least once in their lifetime. So all of you who are watching, please work as hard as you can, because this time will never come back. because the time to work hard is now. The time to put in all your efforts is now, so that you can reap the benefits later, no matter how difficult it seems right now. I remember when I was preparing for my exams, it seemed unending. I was kind of waiting for it to end. I wanted to write the exams, and when the exam result and the exam schedule came in, it was quite tedious task for me because I had to travel for 50 kilometers up and down. So, even after all these problems, it really pays you off. Okay, so please work hard.
Was
Please
it all
never.
worth it?
Definitely, sir. Definitely, it was more than worth it. I must say, because uh,
Yes,
because everything I have right now is just because of the institute, the knowledge
yes,
that I have, the everything. The way I speak today, the confidence that I have today, everything has been granted to me by the institute, and I'm so grateful. So
yes.
yes, that's
Amazing, amazing. So, Rohini, let's directly start and let's directly come on to the questions that are boggling in our minds. First thing that you yourself said just now. How did you decide that you want to select company A as compared to company B? How did you take that decision?
okay. So let me just start by saying that I got shortlisted by a lot of companies. The campus placements are still going on, and a lot of companies are coming. I think on the first day itself, there were around 12, 13 companies that were there, and I got shortlisted by mostly all of them. So since the campus placement guidelines make you only sit for 4 interviews, so you have to select which all 4 interviews you have to appear for, and what are your preferences. So basically, I wanted to get into a public sector undertaking only, which is why I shortlisted 4 companies out of the companies that had shortlisted me. So out of the 4 companies, one was Power Finance Corporation, second was Indian Oil Corporation, third was Rural Electrification Corporation, and fourth was Gas Authority of India Limited. So I actually planned to sit for all of these interviews, but fortunately, the first interview taken was that of PFC, and I also gave an interview in Indian Oil. But before the Indian Oil people could select me, PFC had actually conveyed it to me that I was selected. So I went with PFC.
So, if Indian Oil would have also selected you, then how would you have made that choice that whether to choose one over other?
Okay. So actually, during my interview with Indian Oil, they told me that my job would be transferable. They are going to post me anywhere in the country or even abroad.
Hmm.
So I
Correct.
wasn't very keen on relocating. I wanted to work in Delhi only, and PFC gave me this opportunity to work in Delhi, and which is why my inclination was towards PFC.
Okay, that's great. So now one question which generally people really ask me: how do you choose if you get selected and shortlisted, because they don't allow you to get interviewed for many companies? How do you choose one company over other if you get selected in multiple companies, be it PSU or a non-PSU? How do you choose it?
Okay. Okay, so my preference was definitely PSU, so I shortlisted on the basis of that, like
Correct.
how many PSU shortlisted me.
Correct.
Secondly, of course, everybody goes for the package, right?
Package.
So
Correct.
if
Correct.
yes, so PFC and other PSUs were offering a good, handsome packages, and which is why I selected these 4 companies. And there was also Vedanta on my list, but
Yes.
last moment, yes. So I gave GD of Vedanta as well. So I got shortlisted for PI for Vedanta, but in the last moment I got shortlisted by Rural Electrification Corporation. So I had to unfortunately give up the opportunity at Vedanta. So I went with Rural Electrification Corporation because they were offering the almost same package only.
Correct.
For rank holders, they were offering Vedanta was offering at par with other PSUs. So
Which
it
was
was
how
kind
much
of like a
amount in monetary terms?
so Vedanta was offering around 14.25 lakhs for rank holders, and for
Okay.
non-rank holders, they were offering around 12.25 lakhs.
12.25.
Yes.
And how many vacancies were there in Vedanta?
Sir, actually, they did not disclose the number of vacancies, but they had shortlisted, I guess, 31 students. And out of that, they first conducted the GD session that was online. And then they shortlisted some people on the basis of the GD. And they shortlisted, I guess, it was 11 students they shortlisted for the personal interviews.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, unfortunately, I couldn't give the personal interview for Vedanta. But I appeared for 2 interviews, that is one for PFC and one for India.
Okay. And what other big companies came in Delhi campus? Since you've appeared in the Delhi campus, what other big companies were there in the Delhi campus?
Okay, so I think I have mentioned the four companies that I've already
Correct.
I had
Correct.
shortlisted. Besides that, there was definitely Vedanta. There was ITC Foods division. There was ITC Hotels division. There's EY, Deloitte, Invenio, Consero. Um, I think I'm only able to remember these names as of
Okay.
now. But
What were the average packages?
average packages was around 10 to 12 lakhs.
Okay. Which is
Yes.
also not a bad deal at all. I mean, it's a huge
But
package.
there were certain companies that were offering quite less also, to be very honest. There was also Larsen and Tubro, and they were
Right.
offering quite less because they were offering around only 7 lakhs. That's it.
Okay.
And that too
Okay.
for rank holders. For non-rank holders, they were offering around 6.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, that's
That's great. Okay, so this was a snapshot of what all companies appeared in Delhi campus and how were their approximate packages. Guys, please don't judge a company by its packages alone. I would sincerely
definitely,
recommend you to
definitely,
always go through the JD which they are offering, the profile which they are offering. There may be a situation that a company is offering you a higher package, but its profile is not as rosy as it seems. So you should always go for profile versus package. Package will also always take a second seat because package is secondary and profile is primary. Okay,
definitely.
Rohini, since the time results were out, since we had our last interview till your campus, what all
Yes.
preparations did you take? What all things did you do?
So one of the major things that happened was the pre-placement orientation program that the institute
Correct,
had conducted for all the qualified students opting for the
correct.
Delhi campus. I was opting for Delhi campus, and it was such a beautiful session. I mean, I need to point this out because it was a 12-day session, and I made some lifelong friends. They were like so supportive, and they were so helpful. They were all so knowledgeable. Once you clear this exam, you're going to meet people who are so knowledgeable, and you get to learn from them so much. And and actually the institute was kind enough to invite so many experts every day. At least two experts would come in every day on different topics. They would speak about GST or maybe IBC and all of these topics. Even SAP and Excel was a part of the session. So I got to learn a lot from that session. And uh, actually the experts, they were also so kind enough to let us have this experience. And there were also GD sessions that were being conducted in the campus itself, in the pre-placement orientation program. And like, it was a competitive environment yet so friendly. And the topics that were offered to us for GD was offered in the actual GD sessions of the campus placements as well. So it is kind of like an actual training before you go through the campus placements. So that is one thing that has happened. And secondly, after getting shortlisted,
Which
of
means
course,
which means you should take your orientation seriously because I've seen
yes,
many
sir.
students who do not take it seriously. You should take it seriously.
Definitely, sir, because it was an experience that I will never forget. Because not only was it a learning opportunity for me, but the people you meet there, you develop your social skills, you develop your communication skills there, and that is the one thing that every interviewer is looking for. You need to have good communication skills. They will not judge you on the basis of the knowledge that you have, because you have already proved that you have enough knowledge by clearing this exam, right? So they are going to judge you on the basis of how you speak, how well you speak, and
Correct.
whether you just go blank or not. When they
Correct.
are putting up questions in front of you, and then if you're going just blank, then that in itself means that you're not confident enough, and
Correct.
that will really lower your chances of getting through an interview. So please make sure that you attend all the sessions of the PPOP training. It's very important. And secondly, after the shortlisting came in, so I started studying about the company itself. For if
Right.
I speak, yeah, if I speak specifically for Power Finance Corporation, I made sure that I read the entire annual report. It was a 320-page
Wow.
annual report. Yes, I actually uh, because I had a hawkish eye on PFC. So I
Bang
wanted
on.
to
Bang
make sure.
on.
Yes, sir. So I wanted to make sure that I do not leave any gaps in my preparation. There should not be any questions that must be put to me and I am not aware about it,
Yes.
especially if they ask any questions about the company. And if I'm not able to speak up, then that in itself shows that I'm not serious about getting into that organization.
Absolutely.
So, yes, so it is very important that you go through the annual report. Even if you can't read the entire annual report, make sure that you go through specific points like PFC is an NBFC. So I made sure that I looked through the debt equity ratios and also the cost of funds and what are the financial metrics of the company and what the CMD has to say. The CMD speech is also there on the annual report. So make sure that you read through that and yes, develop your knowledge. And I just went a little overboard with my preparations. I went ahead and studied how the entire electricity industry works here in India. What are
Wow.
the reforms that the government of India is planning to bring into the electricity industry?
Wow.
The reforms, your vision, how we are supposed to be contributing to the power sector here in India, everything. How a cost accountant can contribute to the power sector here in India. So I just went overboard with my preparations because
This
I
is
just
the
focused.
reason. This is the reason why you are here right now. Trust me, this is the reason. This is the differentiating factor. All the students think that whatever they've studied in their CMA finals, that is going to be asked in the interview, but that is
Not
not
at all.
true. That is not true.
Not at all.
The first and foremost thing that you need to know is about the company where you're getting interviewed. What kind of divisions are there? What kind of products do they deal in? What kind of model is there? What kind of business structure is there? Rohini, one line which I want to say for you, for your this effort which you had put in, कुछ किए बगैर जय जयकार नहीं होती और कोशिश करने वालों की कभी हार नहीं होती. This is one
Very
thing
true, sir.
which
Very
is a must, and this is one thing which is mostly ignored by all the students who are appearing for campus placement. They're not aware about the company. They're not aware about the financials of the company. How can someone select them if they're not aware about the company? So Rohini, sixer. I mean, this was first shot and absolutely a sixer. Please go ahead.
true.
I'm
So
actually
actually,
overexcited. So please don't mind my interrupting you and my excitement,
no,
which
sir,
is
not at all. I
oozing
am
out.
also very excited. Yes,
Yes.
sir. So I've just like you pointed out, I am an ardent believer of the fact that you should never rest on your laurels. You should keep climbing. If you reach a mountain top, that is the lowest point for another mountain. So just keep climbing. You should not stop anywhere. If you think that yeah, I've gotten a rank now, I think every company would be fighting for me. Every company would be wanting me to join them. It doesn't work that way. You have to constantly keep climbing, keep learning. And the one
Correct.
thing that I want to mention here is that, you know even with your preparations with the exams, make sure that you take a little bit of time to read a financial newspaper, because
Hmm.
that actually
Hmm.
helped me to develop my analytical skills. I was able to connect
Hmm.
what I have studied in my CMA curriculum
Hmm.
with what is
Hmm.
happening in the economy. So that way you will be able to obtain a holistic view of how the entire economy
Hmm.
works. So you need to have that. Just to take
Tip
this
number two.
opportunity.
Tip number two. Tip number two. Tip number one. Go through about the company's financials, the company's nitty-gritties. Tip number two. Read a financial newspaper. Please go ahead, Rohini.
Yes, sir. So I'll just take this opportunity to point out the fact that when I appeared for Indian Oil Corporation's sorry, Indian Oil Corporation's interview, they asked me what are the sanctions that has been put by US on Russia, and how does it impact the Indian economy, and how does it
Wow.
impact Indian oil. This was
Wow.
the question
Wow.
that was asked to me, and I was able to answer that very well only because I was reading the newspapers, and only because I have been following this for a while now. What is happening, the geopolitical conditions
Yes.
and everything. You need to
Hmm.
know all of these things. Otherwise, if you
Hmm.
just take up your rank, go there, and you're not
Hmm.
able to
Hmm.
speak up, that is going
Not
to
enough.
not at all enough. Rank is going to help you get shortlisted in an interview.
Absolutely.
After that, rank is gone. The rank is not going to play any role in whatever you say in the interview. Uh, so make sure that if you have gotten a rank, don't rest on it. Do not rest on it. Keep learning, keep climbing. You have to get through the interview, and
Correct.
that will be possible only if you keep up with what is happening in the economy. So
Correct.
that would be the thing that I would suggest to all the students who are watching right now.
Perfect. Perfect. And how about studies? Did you study your subjects a little bit? What all subjects did it benefit you for studying? I mean, after your examination results were out.
Okay. So actually, I did not go through a lot of my books because the time did not permit me to go through all the books that I had studied in my CMA final. So I looked up some main things that every interviewer expects you to know, such as Indian accounting standards. That's quite
Hmm.
relevant right now. So
Hmm.
you have to go through that, and also not all Indian accounting standards. I went through those. I went through those standards which were specifically applicable to an NBFC because PFC was an
Like,
NBFC. Uh,
correct. Very
yeah.
good choice.
So I went ahead with financial engineering in
Thesis.
days 109. Yeah, in days 109, in days 32, 110 because it also had joint ventures. So I went through in days 28 as well. So
Correct.
you have to plan a little bit. And also, if you get shortlisted in a lot of companies, it gets a little bit tiring to go through the entire
Correct.
financials and an entire statements and annual reports of those companies. So make sure that you just focus on one company that you really want to get in, go overboard with the preparations with that company. And with respect
Yes.
to other companies, you can just make it, you can just go through the annual reports, just an overview of the annual reports and everything.
Correct.
Otherwise, just focus on one company. That is what I believe in. I think a lot of other people might disagree with this, but this is what I have done.
Correct. Perfect, guys. So, guys, this is what I call हमारी जीत की, क्योंकि एग्जाम में आपको सब कुछ पढ़ना पड़ता है, लेकिन जब आप इंटरव्यू के लिए जा रहे हो तो आप सब कुछ नहीं पढ़ सकते, तब आपको लिमिटेड ही पढ़ना पड़ेगा. सो लिमिटेड जो आपको पढ़ना पड़ेगा वो बहुत ज्यादा whatever you want to whatever the company asks from you. So yes, that's perfect, Rohini. Rohini, the next question is that just before the interview, how did you plan your day, or how did you plan your starting from your dress? What dress did you choose? What kind of maybe hairstyle did you opt for? Please explain all those stuff.
Okay, so let me just first point out that it is very important that you focus on your dressing and your hairstyle. Do not give that a backseat because it is very important that your attire is appropriate to the occasion, your hairstyle is appropriate to the occasion because it should not be flying here and there. So make sure that you completely focus on that as well. With respect to my outfit, I went with a blazer and a trouser, both the same color, and I went with closed-toed heels because in an interview you should not wear anything that is open-toed. You have to wear something that is closed-toed, and the heels were quite less. Do not go for high heels. Prefer kitten heels. And with respect to my hair, I went with pin straight hair. I actually got straightened from a salon beforehand, and I made a middle partition, and all of my hair was tucked back. So so
Hmm.
that your face is very much visible and there is no distraction when you're speaking. So
Absolutely.
if your hair is flying here and there when you're speaking, so that kind of makes an impression that you're not very serious for the interview. So make sure that all of your hair is at your back, your face is visible, crisp and clean shirts and blazer and trousers, closed-toed heels or shoes, whatever you prefer. And if you're wearing heels, make sure that your heels are not very high. Should be kitten heels. Don't go for high
Right.
heels. So and
Right.
make sure that you're very much comfortable in whatever you are wearing because if you're uncomfortable, that shows in an interview. You have to be
Correct.
able to sit there for a long time because my interview lasted for just 20 minutes, but there were some people whose interview lasted for around an hour or so. So you have to be
Wow.
comfortable sitting there. So yes, please make sure that you are comfortable in whatever you are wearing, and that's it.
People don't touch base on this topic. They are shy away from speaking about dressing in an interview. But trust me, guys, when I used to take interview, when I was in the big fours, and when I hear other people taking interviews, the first impression is the last impression is the biggest tagline which hits my mind every time. And that definitely includes your dressing sense. You cannot
Yes,
compromise on your dressing sense. Some guys ask me, sir, टाई पहनना जरूरी है क्या? अरे क्यों नहीं पहनना चाहते तुम? क्यों नहीं? Why not? I mean, तुम्हें बांधनी नहीं आती टाई या फिर क्या? तो the logic which I get is, sir, won't I look overdressed? It's always better to look overdressed rather than looking
exactly.
underdressed. So please
Definitely
wear
agree.
blazer. Please wear tie. Please wear a proper formal shoes. Everything should be very perfect so that your visual appearance is also as good as your words. Whatever you're speaking, that should be good. So yes, Rohini, thank you so much for enlightening on the dressing, especially for girls, specifically for girls, because I definitely see a lot of girls doing a lot of blunders. So you know what happened, Rohini? I was taking an interview of a girl. She was wearing danglers, and I asked her, "Have you qualified in your first attempt?" And she said, "Yes, I've qualified in my first attempt." And her dangler was saying, "Yes,
Yes.
yes, yes." So this
Yes,
happens a
that
lot.
happens. Yeah, that happens a lot, and especially with the hair. We usually we all us girls have long hair, so it flies here and there. Make sure that you get straightened it at least for the interview. Because that shows how much serious you are, and also or keep all of your hair away from your face. Not like what I'm
Hmm.
sitting right here. You should not
Correct,
put your hair like this when you're going for an
correct,
interview. So always
correct.
keep it at back. There should not be any distractions on your face.
Correct. Perfect.
That
So Rohini, what kind of questions were asked in the interview? Right from the initial interview to the technical level interviews. I want two
okay.
kind of questions. Two kind of questions. What were the HR questions which were asked? What were the technical questions which were asked?
Okay. So I appeared for two interviews. So I have written down all the questions so that I don't
Oh
miss out any
wow!
questions.
Perfect.
Yeah, I've written down all of the questions. So starting with PFC, actually there was only one round of interview for PFC because they shortlisted only the top 10 rank holders who had opted for campus placements. So it was easier for them to conduct personal interviews. So they just had one round for PFC. So my questions were basically mostly all of them were directed from my CV only. So they asked a lot of questions from my CV. So prepare thoroughly on your CV and make sure you don't lie on your CV because that shows dishonesty. And that was the first trait that they mentioned they were looking for in a candidate, honesty. So make sure you don't lie on your CV. Very important.
No bluffing at all.
Second, yeah, exactly. And second question, and actually they wanted to make me feel very comfortable. So they started with questions like, "Tell me something about yourself," and "What does your father do?" and everything. So they were all very nice, and they were making me feel so comfortable. So after a few minutes into the interview, I was very comfortable, and I was able to share everything that was on my mind at that point of time. So yes, please don't worry about that because the interviews are not at all intimidating. They are going to make you feel like home. So
Correct.
please don't worry about that. Yeah, just focus on your speaking skills and everything, and other things would be taken care of. So just like that. And yeah, the next question was around Caro. So Caro 2020 and 2016. What is the difference between both of them, and what all?
Oh.
Yeah, and what all additions have been made in Caro 2020?
Uh,
Because I was in the internal audit profile in my articleship. They also asked me whether Caro 2020 and the internal audit, how will you relate Caro 2020 with internal audit? Like what all are the provisions with respect to internal audit in Caro 2020? So that was
hmm.
one of the questions that I got asked. And the third question was that if a statutory auditor has already submitted the audit report to the company and the internal auditor has not submitted his report, so, what should the statutory auditor do? How should be the situation dealt with in that scenario? If the internal auditor has not given his report and the statutory auditor has already given it, so what should be the line of action? So, that was one of the questions that was asked. And then they asked something with respect to the NBFC industry, specifically for NBFC industry, like what is spread and what is marginal interest, which unfortunately I did not know the answer of. And to point out, if you don't know any answer, it's perfectly fine because they are not expecting you to know everything, right?
Correct. Correct.
So if even if you don't know an answer, be polite and just say that I'll have to read on that, sir.
Correct.
I'll have
Hmm.
to
Hmm.
I'll have to read. I am not able to recall it as of now. Or if you just don't know or you haven't heard about it, just say that sorry, sir, I have not heard about it, but I
Yes.
assure you that I'll go back and read on it.
Hmm.
That's it. You can just say that. Okay. And then there was then they asked me about statutory requirements for internal audit. So I had to mention all the regulations and the rules wherein the internal audit has been mentioned as mandatory. And when I
Right.
start, and they also asked me about the limits for internal audit in Companies Act. So, like,
Oh.
what all, yeah. So that was
Ah.
one of the questions that was kind of, you had to recall whatever you have studied in your
Correct.
curriculum. So when I started to speak about the limits of the internal audit, they said that first of all you have to mention the section. They asked me sections specifically, like what is the section. You have to mention the
Did you
section
remember the
limits.
section?
Fortunately, I did. Fortunately,
Wow.
so yes, so I was
Wow.
able to point out the section as well. So they were very impressed in that, and then it was mostly, yes, and they were asking me, how do you know that the electricity industry has to go through cost audit and they have to maintain cost records? Where is it mentioned in the Companies Act and the section where it has been mentioned in the Companies Act?
Hmm.
So yes, they asked me that as well. So you just have to mention Companies Act, companies cost records and audit rules. And
Right.
fortunately, I also remember the rule number. So actually, that was a plus point for me.
Fantastic. Huh.
Yes, and in Companies Act, the section number that you have to mention. So they asked me specifically for section. This is one thing that I want to mention. When you're studying, make sure that you go through the sections as well, because there are a lot of
Correct.
people who ignore the section numbers and they just focus on the content. But I got asked these questions in an interview, and that was actually a plus point in my favor, that I remembered the sections correctly.
Section
So please
numbers.
make sure you go through the sections as well. It's very, very important.
For at
Okay,
least the
so
final students, it's a recommendation. Please remember at least the major sections well.
yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you allow me, should I also speak about the interview questions that IOCL asked me?
Please, please.
Sir, actually, I can't hear you, sir. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
So your voice is not audible, sir.
I think there is some setting which you have changed.
Okay, so I'll just rejoin, sir. Just a minute. I'll
Yes,
just
yes,
rejoin.
yes, yes. My God, guys, the excitement levels are really rising above the the ceiling of this room. Guys, please hit a like button on this video if you're liking this video. At least I'm liking this video. I don't want to end this interview session. It has already been almost 40 minutes, but it feels like it's only 5 minutes. I'm not wanting to end this live session because the tips which she is giving are the tips which genuinely will help you all. And I don't want to miss any tip that she is giving, that she is capable of giving, because she has done it and we all have to do it. So hit a like button if you're liking this video, and yes, I will extract maximum out of her today. I will ask maximum questions for all of your benefits. Please hit a like button and do suggest me what questions do you want me to ask her. I'm noting down questions of Sai Kiran Kola. I have noted your question. I will just ask her this question, and other questions I will also ask her. I will try to take out time out of her precious time, because her time is very precious, but still I will try to ask her maximum questions. I'm not going to leave her so easily. So just give me questions which you want me to ask. Okay, please write in the chat box, comment in the chat. Okay, she's back. All right. Yes, Rohini.
Yeah, so
IOCL
I was,
questions you were about to start.
yes, sir. So the first question was, actually they also made me very comfortable. They asked me that my father is in the Indian Meteorological Department. So tell me, what is the temperature right now? So that was the kind of question that they asked. Yes, and
That's
what
great.
is going to be the situation of Delhi in this week? So what are the heat wave conditions?
Uh, uh,
So yes, so that was kind of a very they wanted me to feel comfortable there. So yes. So and after that, they asked me what is zero-based budgeting.
okay.
That they asked.
Okay.
Yes.
Hmm.
Then they asked what is the difference between operating lease and financial lease, and what is something that that differentiates AS19 from AS from Ind AS 116. So that is what they
Okay.
asked. Yeah.
Hmm. Were
And
you able to
then
answer this question?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. The only one question I wasn't able to answer, and that was zero-based budgeting. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to remember anything at that point of time. So I just
Hmm.
mentioned that I'll have to read on that. And yeah, so that's it. So
Perfect.
this was the second question. Third question was the actual meaning of shutdown point and break-even point. They asked me the meaning, not the formula or anything. They asked me the concept, like what is the actual concept behind shutdown point and break-even point. So that is one thing that they asked. And yes, and they asked me the reasons for global warming.
Oh,
And yeah, so they asked me about global warming and what are the reasons behind it. So I mentioned that the carbon emissions are the major culprit of global warming. So they
yes.
asked, Indian oil is the major culprit for carbon emissions. So yeah, so and we are moving towards a greener energy. So how will Indian oil survive? They asked me that question. So
Very
yeah,
interesting.
and
What was the answer? I'm just curious. What answer did you give?
actually, I was like, I had read a lot of articles about greener energy and how it might not be possible for India to transition into green energy in a very short period of time. So it is still going to take a lot of time. And oil industry, which is such a major industry here in India, so the government is not going to take its hands off the oil and natural gas industry. They will have
Hmm.
to keep supporting the oil and natural gas industry. So there are no questions about it getting privatized very soon. So Indian Oil is going to survive pretty much on whatever profits that they are making, because right now they are booming with profits because of the Russia-Ukraine situation as well. So
Correct.
I think this is what I said at that point of time as well, because I don't remember exactly what I said there. It must be on these lines itself. So
Right,
yeah,
right,
this was
right,
the
right,
question.
right. Right.
And actually, they also asked me that whether India has done anything for reducing these carbon emissions, and what are plans of India to, make India less pollutant, because the 13 most polluted cities in the world are in India. So
Right.
what all India has done to reduce this? Okay. So my answer to this was, if anybody is interested in knowing, I actually said that India is a part of the Paris Climate Treaty, and it also made commitments in COP26 to reduce its carbon emissions by 50% by 2030 and 100% by 2070. So that was the answer
Wow.
that they were looking for. Yes. And the PLI schemes with respect to solar modules as well, so that they are promoting renewable energy resources. So that is one thing that they have also promoted for green energy. So you need to know all these things because they are expecting you to know these things. They are
Which
not
subject
asking
of
you.
CMA final deals with these treaties? Tell me, which subject of CMA final?
No subject
Which
deals with
teacher
this.
has taught you these?
Nothing. Nobody has taught me this. I actually went through
That's the
all the
point.
newspapers. Yeah. Nobody
Yes,
taught me
that's
this
the
to
point.
go through all of these things. Even before the interview, when I pointed out to some people that I was shortlisted in Indian Oil, they did not mention anything about this, that they're going to ask you these things. But they did. And, why are they asking you these questions? You're a professional, you're a CMA, you are supposed to know all of these things.
Yes,
What is happening in the economy. If you're going to work for a company which belongs to an oil industry, you are supposed to be answering these questions. You cannot fumble there. You cannot just say that I don't know,
I don't know.
because that, yeah, you can never say that, because
They are giving you
it is
27.5 lakhs. They deserve
exactly,
something in return, right?
exactly my point. Yes, so these were the questions that were asked, and what they also asked me about payback period. What is payback period? And
Hmm.
explain with an
Hmm.
example. They said
Hmm.
that. And one question that they asked was how, because I have prior experience of working in the electricity industry, so they asked how is electricity generated. So my
Oh,
preparations for PFC actually helped me in Indian Oil.
right,
So
right,
they
right.
asked me how electricity is generated, and how, what are the proportions, like thermal energy, renewable energy, hydel power, solar power. So what are the ratios in which India is generating electricity? Yes.
Yes,
So yeah, I actually mentioned about the US sanctions on Russia, right, and how it has
yes.
impacted India. Yeah. So that
Huh.
was one of the questions that was asked to me.
Hmm.
And
Hmm. Hmm.
fortunately, I knew the answer of this as well, because if you don't know, then it will be like it is there everywhere. No matter
Hmm.
what article you pick up, no matter what newspaper you pick up, it is always going to be there. So if you don't know
Correct,
about this, then in that case, they are complete. They will have an idea of you that you are not aware about what's happening around.
correct.
So yes, you need to read the newspapers. Very important. And yes, so in my interview, I just said that I was inclined towards working in a PSU. So the next question that they asked me was, if Indian Oil gets privatized, but your inclination is towards PSU, so what are you going to do? It is good.
That was an
So,
intelligent one. What did you
yes.
respond to it?
I don't know. Actually, I mitigated that question in a very diplomatic way, I suppose. And they were actually quite impressed with that answer as well. So they were all smiling, and they were also,
What was the answer?
saying that I actually quite don't remember actually.
Okay.
I think I mentioned that even if it gets privatized, I do have complete faith on the financial metrics of Indian Oil, because the Indian Oil is equipped with such manpower and such proficient people, that they are going to survive the privatization as well, and they are going to get and the Indian oil and the oil industry here in India is booming right now. So it doesn't matter if it is under the control of the government or privatized, it is going to survive no matter what. So I am
Great.
not concerned about my position here at Indian Oil, because I know that it is going to give me the security that I need, and privatization wouldn't matter to me in that case. This is what I mentioned, I suppose. I'm not
You
very sure what
managed.
I said.
You managed. It
Yes,
was. It was on the
yeah.
brim.
Yeah,
Yes.
actually, you have to do that as well,
Yes.
because they will lead the interview in the way that you speak. If you speak a
Yes.
certain point, they are going to counter question you on that. So you
Right.
need to be able to answer that as well, and that you'll be able to answer only if you have good communication skills. So work on
Correct.
your communication skills. That is so, so, so
Very
important.
important.
Yeah. And when I say communication skills, I am not mentioning that you have to be proficient in English. It can either be in Hindi as well. It doesn't matter, because some of the panelists in Indian Oil, there were 7 people on the panel, and some of the people
Seven.
were speaking to me in Hindi. Yeah, they were speaking to me in Hindi, so it doesn't matter at all. You have to be proficient in either of the languages. You need to be able to convey your thoughts in a crisp and a very clear manner, no matter what language that you're speaking. So,
Perfect.
so make sure that you have excellent communication skills. So while you're studying, make sure that you take out time for this as well. Okay.
Correct.
And
Correct.
okay, and then they asked about the financial metrics of Indian Oil, like what is the EPS? Has Indian Oil paid any dividend in these years?
Oh.
Yes, and they also mentioned that in 2020 their profits went down. Why did it go down? So I mentioned about the ongoing pandemic, but they said, do you think that such a huge gap in the net profits year on year is only because of the pandemic? Because of the pandemic, we were sitting at home and we were not able to generate profits. Is that the only reason? So, because I had not prepared very much on the financial metrics of Indian Oil, I wasn't able to answer that. But I said that I don't remember the exact figures as to how much there was a decline in the net profit. But I am sure that Indian Oil has gotten out of it, because this year they are earning quite a bit of profit, because I also read the data up until December 2021. So the net profits were rising. So I mentioned that fact. So that was a point in
Hmm.
my favor. So you have to be updated with their financial metrics as well. Very important. And
Great.
they also asked if what is the percentage increase in net profit year on year of Indian
Huh.
Oil.
Huh.
Yeah. So that was the question that they asked. So yeah, that is it. And how they also asked me my opinion on how Indian Oil can shift to greener energy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that these were all the questions that I got asked.
Great, great, superb. Now, the question which is popping up time and again in the chat box is that how did your prior work experience help you out in your interview? And what exactly was your prior work experience?
Okay. So I was fortunate enough to work with BSES Yamuna Power Limited, and I
Oh,
was placed. Yeah, so I was placed there in the internal audit department, and everyone there was so helpful, and they also helped me learn as much as I was working there. They were also pushing me towards learning more and more things. So that was something that I got to understand from the BSES, that it is not just important that you focus on your work, but you should also learn side by side. So yes, that definitely helped me, because I was eyeing on Power Finance Corporation. The prior experience of working in a power distribution company actually helped me. And when they asked me as to why do you want to work with PFC, this was my first reason, as to I already have experience of working in a power distribution company, so I would be better acclimatized to the situation at Power Finance Corporation. And I think that they bought it. They did respect that answer, and yeah, so it helped me very much to sit in front of the PFC panelists and speak. So yes,
great,
please make sure
great.
that you seriously go through your industrial training, because it's very, very, very
Correct.
important.
Very important. Correct. Uh, one question which is popping up by one of the guys, which is I don't know whether it is relevant or not, but he says that whether negotiation of packages also happens in the campus, or is it a
In
fixed
PSU,
bracket?
it doesn't happen. It's a fixed bracket. They will not even ask you questions about where do you see yourself in 5 years, because that's all fixed. You will get promotions on the basis of tenure and not on the basis of your work. So PSUs, they are not going to ask you this question. But my friends, they were all very kind enough to let me know that there were negotiations taking place in EY and other big four companies,
Oh,
and yeah, and other companies as well, private companies like LNP and everything. So there were negotiations taking place, so you don't have to worry about that.
okay. That's great. That's great. Someone has asked, Mayur Shah has asked that your marks in 11th, 12th, 10th, 12th, were they relevant for the interview? And I would like to
Um,
extend this question whether your marks in intermediate was relevant for the interview or not.
Actually, they did mention something about having to score at least 60% throughout your education, right? 10th,
Ah,
12th,
okay.
10th, 12th, graduation, intermediate,
Okay.
as well as final. So if you score
Okay.
above 60%, that is
Intermediate
going to be,
also? CMA
yeah,
intermediate
intermediate.
also?
Yes, yes, yes. CM
Okay.
intermediate.
Okay.
So you have to score above 60% in all of these areas. Then only they will shortlist you. But that is only relevant for shortlisting. Other than that, they did not ask me any questions with respect to how you were in 10th or 12th or any kind of thing. So yeah,
Okay.
for shortlisting, it is definitely important. Make sure that you get at least 60%. I think most of the students have it.
Okay, okay. Rama is asking which financial newspaper did she read? Guys, I'll tell you, Economic Times is the best financial newspaper that you can opt for. Financial Express is the second best. You can opt for that. And for that matter, don't worry about the newspaper because all of them are good enough at your stage, at least the nascent stage which you are at. That's perfectly fine. Okay, Achal Singh is asking, how did you manage BCom and intermediate both? Did you juggle between both of them? How did you manage both of them?
So to answer this question, I want to point out the fact that I am the kind of person who focuses on just one thing. I have always been a believer of that. If you juggle between things, you're not going to be the best at either of them. So I've
Hmm.
always believed
Hmm.
focus on one thing, but be the best at whatever you do. So
Correct.
after BCom honors only, I started with CMA intermediate. So I was able to give my complete focus and attention towards CMA intermediate and CMA final. So I was fortunate
Great.
enough that I did not have to work while studying for CMA final because that is a privilege. I recognize that it's a privilege because my father allowed me to sit at home and study for so long
Hmm.
because,
Correct.
not all of them are have this
No,
privilege to sit at home and
not at
study.
all.
A lot of people have to work while managing their studies, and it's a
Yes,
very, very,
absolutely.
very difficult task. And I recognize that. I recognize that I have this privilege with me, and I've always, always been grateful about it. So yes, you can
Correct.
juggle between them, but I did not do it.
Correct. Great, 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 Rohini. So yes, messages are still pouring in, in. I think we need to have another session because it's already 1 hour. But yes, we'll meet you again, Rohini. Rohini, any
Okay.
tips from your side which you would like to give? Yes, trust me. From past 5 years, I'm taking such interviews of CMA final students, and the tips which you gave today, they were not mentioned by those CMA final students because small things which are ignored, they are relevant but still they are ignored, and the reason why you are here at 27.5 and rest all of are at say 12, 10 or 14 are those small differences which you have told in today's interview. And trust me, this interview I'm going to mention to all my future CMA final students and CMA qualified students to watch this interview again and again and again and again repeatedly, because the point which you have dotted today, which you have actually nailed it today, those points are actually reservoir of powerhouse of collection of things that you should do for your interview, not only for CMA but also for CA, CS, BCom, graduation, MBA, whatever course you are in. But these are common pointers which you did, and trust me, Rohini, you have worked really hard for this particular thing. And if anyone tells you that it's by luck Rohini is very lucky, it's by luck Rohini has got the rank, it's by luck that Rohini has got such an amazing package, if anyone tells you this, please send this link to him or her and ask him or her to watch out for this 1 hour of interview, to know your struggles, to know your efforts which you've put in even after getting rank 3. After getting a rank 3, I've seen students relaxing. They would come
This
in a
is one thing I was
relaxation
going
mode.
to mention. Yeah, I was going to mention this. You asked me about three things that if I want to speak about
Yes,
to others, so that other students can also know. This is one thing
yes,
that I want to speak about. Do not rest on your laurels, please. You have to keep climbing. You have to be a student for your entire life. The learning
correct,
never stops. Be a
correct,
student everywhere that you go. Learn from people, learn
correct,
from situations, learn from circumstances. That you have to
correct,
do. Do not rest on your laurels. Keep working. It never, never, never stops. Especially after you become a professional, you are supposed to know
Correct.
all of these things. You just cannot rest. I'm not saying that you cannot enjoy your life. Please go ahead,
Correct.
do it. Life is too short to be just rigid and be rigid and only focus on your work. Please do enjoy, but make sure that you always come back and learn a lot of different things that are happening around. So yes,
Correct.
that is one tip that I want to give everybody.
Correct.
So second of all, I think you really need to be disciplined in your life. I
Discipline.
read somewhere that the pain of discipline is always going to be lesser than the pain of regret. So, and that has stuck with
Correct.
me for so long that I never take my time for granted. I never waste my time on things that are not relevant to me. You know, so that is one thing that I have learned from my father as well. He's very disciplined. He's very rigid. He has a schedule. He follows that. So yes, he's an
Correct.
inspiration to me, and I have gotten that from him only. And
Correct.
thirdly, just enjoy the process. You're not going to get this opportunity again, even if it is with the interview or with your CMA final exams or anything. Just enjoy the process. Don't take yourself so seriously. Just go with the flow. That's it. So these are the three things that I want to tell everybody watching right now.
Awesome. Awesome, 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 Rohini. Was an amazing session. And even after spending 1 hour with you, I don't feel like signing off. Usually I take interviews for half an hour, not more than half an hour. But this time the content has been so intense, the
Yes.
content has been so enriching that it feels that, let's gather more of you, more of you, more of you. But thank you so much for joining in. And we wish you all the best for your new stint, your super amazing ride which you have taken. This is like a takeoff which you have taken for your career. Couldn't have been better. My only thought is couldn't have been better. This is the best you've got. But as the person you are, you will definitely not rest on your laurels even now. And I'm sure you're going to work on it. You're going to work hard even now, and you will climb the ladder of success even more superbly. So wishing you
Thank you
all
so
the
much, sir.
best
Thank you
from
so
my
much.
entire channel. Thank you so much for joining in, and we wish you all the best, Rohin.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for having me here on your channel. It's a privilege to be speaking to you itself. So thank you so much for that.
Amazing, amazing. We'll see you soon. Bye bye. Bye.
Bye bye, guys. Take care.
Guys, that was Rohini J for all of you. I mean, I enjoyed this session so much, and I hope you also enjoyed this session as much as I did. You please see my track record. I've never taken a session more than half an hour with the students who've qualified, or with the students who've attained ranks, or with the students who've taken up a job. But this session, I was feeling that let's not stop, because the kind of pointer which she was giving, these are really worth it, and they are really going to make you successful if you follow each and every point of her. The next campus, you'll be at this screen, you'll be at this frame, sharing your experience with me on a package of 37 lakhs. So this is the benchmark which she has said, 27 lakhs. Next benchmark is 37 lakhs, which you, yes, the person who's watching this interview right now, you're going to set this next benchmark, 37 lakhs in the next campus for CMA Institute. Yes, with pride, with privilege, with utmost due respect for our institute, for our profession. This is Nikhil Gupta signing off with an amazing, amazing feeling, with good vibes, signing off all of you guys. And yes, hoping to see more of you on my channel with such packages. And yes, please rewind this video again and again and watch out for all the tips which she had given, and follow the tips yourself. With this positive note, all the very best and happy studying. Bye bye. Bye, guys.